every time I watch a player, I should know what you're going to bring to the table every night. We talk about at Colgate how the hardest thing to do every day is be consistent. If it creates more questions the more I watch you about who you are as a player, that's to me a little bit concerning, knowing like I can't fit you where do you slot in for us? It's like if you're a fast guy, be fast every time you're on the ice. Some coaches only will watch you for a couple shifts. Maybe you get a coach that watches you a couple games. You don't know what games those are. You don't know what shifts those are. So do what you do best every single time you step onto the ice.
Yeah, that's great advice. What's going on, guys? It's Braden from Advanced Hockey Advising here. And today we got a really cool guest on board. He's a good friend of mine. His name is Brandon Krumpschmid. He's an NCAA D1 Director of Hockey Operations at Colgate University. He played NCAA D3 Hockey at Trine University. That's where I met him, actually. Honestly, he's had a very interesting junior career leading up to his NCAA D3 career and now to an NCAA D1 coaching staff. So he's had a very interesting trajectory. He's got some really good insights to talk to you guys about. So honestly, like if you guys want to know how to get recruited to the NCAA D3 and D1 level, Brandon's got that amazing perspective because he's lived like both worlds at this point. He's still super young, so he's got a ton of knowledge and he'll be able to really relate to you guys. So really excited for this interview here. Before, it's an AHA video, so I have to ask you guys to absolutely destroy that like button before we get into it. And if you're new here and if you want to see more of these kind of interviews, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. All right, now with that out of the way here, let's dive right into the interview here with Brandon Krumpschmid. All right, so Brandon, glad to have you here. How are you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm good. So let's dive right into it here. So maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself and your hockey background.
Yeah, so I'm originally was raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I played most of my youth hockey career at the Fox Motors Hockey Club, what's now Fox Motors. When I played, it was Michigan Nationals previously. Played there for all the way through my U18 year when I graduated. Stayed until I graduated high school. After my U18 year, it was kind of my best year, I'd say. And then I ended up receiving a tender to go play in the North American League for the Odessa Jackalopes back in 2016. That was my first experience in junior hockey. I went down to Texas. It's kind of up and down year. Kind of my first real taste of adversity in hockey, I'd say. I ended up getting moved over to Shreveport. I actually loved my time in Shreveport. It was just kind of brief there. And then my first year junior kind of got cut short, ended up getting released, went back home. Wasn't sure what I was going to do. Kind of still thinking about my future, what I wanted from hockey. And then I just decided to go out and try something a little different. Went out to Salt Lake City, Utah, played in the old Western States Hockey League. Nice. For the Utah Outliers. That was a really cool experience for me. First time coming in and being really given a leadership role, play all situations. I think that was one of the best things for my career path and my development was maybe taking a step back and just rediscovering the love for hockey again and just having a bunch of fun. And I think that's what ended up helping me. I got to the showcase there. We had a showcase in Las Vegas. And after that, that's when I first talked to Coach Kaiser and Coach Todd at Trine University, and then ended up taking a visit there and committing to Trine University out of Angola, Indiana, just as you know. Yep. And played my 4 years of Division III hockey there and had an unbelievable time.
Yeah, awesome. And that's actually where we met at Trine. So it's crazy how small of a world it is. But you touched on, going to the Western States and you got played in all situations and all that stuff versus in the other leagues, you said it was a bit of adversity, all that kind of stuff. I noticed a common pattern where, sometimes you need to take a step back, maybe go to a bit of a lower league, but you go and dominate and stuff. And that can really be a big step for people's careers. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is no matter what league, if you're not playing a lot, you tend to question your ability and you tend to question if you're good enough to play at that level. And that's the biggest thing that I really dealt with it's the first time you're like, am I as good as I really think I am? It's until you really take a step back. I was lucky to have a lot of good mentors and leadership when it came to hockey and a lot of people I could talk to. And there's nothing wrong with going, maybe like they say, going down a league, or just going to play more and play a bigger role and feel like a part of a team again. And that was the biggest thing for me was when you're not playing, you almost like the results don't really bother you. You just all you pretty much caring about is I need to get in because I need what you need what's best for your development. And that's true. But there's something about holding the weight of how the team does and just being a leader and having each game really affect you. And it makes the game way more enjoyable. And I think it really helps with your development just from a psyche standpoint.
100%. And I couldn't agree more. I've dealt with it too throughout my junior career, my college career, everything. And going where you play, I think, is the most important thing. There are exceptions. If you're a 17-year-old, you make an NA team or something like that. You have that first year where you're getting scratched in and out of the lineup. That's fine for some guys, if the psyche is not a huge issue. But I would say going where you play is just so much better for your confidence. Like, even though you might make a super prestigious league, maybe going down a league that's still good, but not as prestigious, where you're actually going to get those top 6 minutes. You're going to get that ice time, more puck touches. I think it's just more important to do that just because from a skill standpoint, you'll develop more. And from a confidence standpoint, like confidence is huge in sports and in hockey. It's just so much better.
Couldn't agree more.
So let's talk about here your transition from playing the game and going into coaching. How's that been at Colgate?
Good. It's been pretty like seamless. You still get the feeling of being around the guys all the time. That's always what you talk about to guys who stop playing and maybe join a different, they go a completely different career path. The one thing they miss is that like camaraderie of being around the guys. And I feel like that's one thing that I get to still have is being a part of that team, which has been really nice. It's obviously different. You have a whole different perspective on things now. Yeah. You definitely you kind of feel for more of those coaches that you probably dogged when you're when you're coming up in hockey, kind of learning the road from their point of view and understand the amount of work that those guys do. And I just don't think players understand the amount of work that coaches put in on a day-to-day basis, like how much they have to do to keep everything moving and to keep everything going. But yeah, I think it's been pretty easy. It's just as long as you love the game, like it's the work, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like yeah, you're working a lot and you're working hard, but it's fun. You're doing stuff that you feel like you're making everybody around you better, and you're just pulling one weight to get to an ultimate goal for everybody. So
yeah, for sure. It's a ton of fun. If you love it, yes, it's a lot of work, like you said, but it's totally worth it for sure. That's actually one thing I miss, because on the advising side, you do talk to players, you talk to coaches and all that stuff, but you're not really rooting for a team in a way. I mean, that sense of camaraderie, like it's not exactly the same when you're a player and when you're a coach, but you still get that as a coach. Yeah. It's pretty cool to fight day in and day out and try and win some games and stuff.
Yeah, that's what makes college hockey the best too, in my opinion, is that you have your guys, and those are your guys that you have to win with from day one.
How's the transition been between being a player and being around the guys and being like in the coaching side now and being around the guys?
I went into it thinking I still have to be myself. How I was a player was a high energy guy who came in every day with a smile on your face. You got to come in and kind of, joke around with the guys and everything. And I still kind of hold that role. Like I still feel like I come in and, make the room lighter. The one thing that I have done more of this year is not being afraid to, like, as a player, you kind of, you want to pick and choose your spots when you want to talk to your teammates and like what you want to coach them on or what you want to correct them on, because your guys that you just want to leave by themselves. But I feel like in this role, it's been when I see something, I definitely want to talk to the guys. And I think every guy on our team is super coachable, and it's super easy to point out even small nitpicky things. But those are the things that I think are super important. And what made me a good hockey player was I was good at those nitpicky things. I wasn't the biggest, fastest, strongest guy, but my details were always good. And that's the one thing I try to bring with these guys, even though they're at the Division I level. These guys have a lot more talent than I do, but I know all those small pieces of the game that made me successful. So that's something that I try to coach them on as much as possible. But I think I learned from these guys as much as they probably learned from me. And that's been kind of the whole point of this job too, is I get to be at a level every day that I never got to play at. So I'm as much as a student as am as a teacher, I would say, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. It must be cool being around those guys and learning from them every day. But at the same time, pointing like little details out. And it's great that they're all coachable guys because
Mhm.
I find the best players are the ones that are there to learn, from anything. You point something out, they won't like shrug you off or anything. They'll be like, okay, yeah, let me incorporate that in my game. So it's super important. Like how important would you say is coachability for players altogether?
It's so important because like coaches talk, like coaches
Yeah.
communicate with each other, and if a guy is just deemed as, maybe harder to coach, or uncoachable is a pretty harsh word, but guys that are harder to coach or like just don't seem to pick up things as quick, like those things go a long way. And like especially at Division 1 level, like it's important to understand concepts really quick and be able to adjust on the fly really quick. If you struggle to pick up on stuff like that, like it'll hurt you as a player. Like I think the biggest thing is the best guys that I've learned is they pick coaches' brains, like at any times, is whether it's talking about an NHL game from the night before or talking about anything, just anything in life, honestly, just picking coaches' brains because coaches are just there to help at all times. We're all in this profession because we love the game and we love to help. So try to ask us as many questions because we love giving answers.
Yeah, for sure. And I've noticed that too with the best guys I played with. They're always like, they're not being annoying or anything like that, asking about ice time, all that stuff. They're really asking about specific things like, hey, about this play, like what would you have done different? They always try and see somebody else's perspective. They always are analyzing their gear. You can tell their gears are always turning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
always trying to figure out how to get better and stuff. And those are the best players I've noticed. They usually always have that trait. So it's funny that you point that out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you played like at the NCAA D3 level, you're coaching at the D1 level. What would you say, is maybe the main difference you've noticed between D3 hockey and D1 hockey? Because a lot of our viewers always ask like what are the main differences?
Mhm. I'd say that the athletes, the overall athletes, like almost all of our guys and all the guys that we play against, like kids these days are just incredible athletes. They take insane care of their bodies, their preparation away from the rink. Like they might not be the strongest guys in the world, but they're built to play hockey. They're strong on the pucks. They're such good skaters. It's just a whole nother level of commitment that I've come to learn that maybe you see from some guys at the Division 3 level, but it's the expectation at the Division 1 level
Yeah, the standards are
is
higher.
is that if you don't come in your best possible shape, like you're behind. It doesn't matter how good you are, like you're gonna be behind. Even our most skilled players, like you can tell if they're not in their best physical condition, like they're a step behind. And even like guys who put up even a point a game, like you can even see that they can hit even another level if they even dial in on their, whether it's your diet or your training or your sleep. Sleep is one thing that we talk about a lot and how important it is for just your recovery, just because of how physically demanding playing at the Division 1 level is and how hard each day is with class and everything. Like you just have to be on another level of being. We always say you have to be all in. That's one thing that we preach at Colgate, is the one thing that we've had speeches from our alumni. We've had guys come in and give us like motivational talks, and the one key theme that they've always come to is you have to be all in when you're in the moment. You
Yeah.
only here for 4 years, sometimes five, sometimes three, whatever it is. When you're here, you have to be all in at all times.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is just that another level of commitment to the game and to all the stuff that sucks that you don't want to do.
They do it.
These kids do
Yeah.
it, and it's their expectation to do it, not only that they're doing it.
Yeah, it's like the standard in a way. I feel like I totally agree with that. I've noticed it too. Like the guys who go D1, yes, they have the skill, that for sure. But like from what I've seen between D3 players and D1 players, the D1 players like really like the standard is so high and they do all the little things. They do all
Mm-hmm.
the little things, right? Like going down to like diet, exercise, like training right, sleep, all the little things that they need to do, they do it right. And I've noticed at the D3 level, some really good players too, but sometimes like these really skilled players at the D3 level, they didn't make it D1 because the little habits weren't dialed in. I don't know if
Exactly
you agree
that.
with that, but I've seen it,
Oh, I agree with it totally. Like it's a different, I think the one thing each level that for me, you think you think you're working as hard as you can until you see another level of people working harder. And there's like, wow, there's really more you can always do. Like it's okay to not to look back and be like, oh, maybe I didn't do it's there's just another level that you might not even know about of how hard you have to work.
100%. And the more you surround yourself with those kind of people, the more
Hmm.
you realize, okay, God, there's another level. And as you go up the levels, like through, whether it's junior D1 or D3, and then through the pro level, the more you go up, the more you realize, like, wow, like that guy's like next level with his habits. And then
Hmm.
they help bring you up. And if you go up another level, then these guys are like even next level, until you get
Hmm.
to the NHL where these guys are just freaks of nature.
Yeah, just absolute aliens up there.
Yeah, for sure. Putting your D1 coach hat on here, when you're scouting, when you're looking at players, what are some things like the top skills or the top, attributes, whatever it is? What do you typically look for in players when you're scouting junior leagues, prep leagues, and all that kind of stuff?
I think the number one trait, and it's a pretty common one that a lot of people talk about, is hockey sense, hockey IQ. You got to have guys who understand the game. It's the biggest reason why I think many coaches look to that is because it's such a hard trait to teach.
It is.
Very hard to. There's no perfect science to it. It's not a wrist shot. It's not your skating stride. It's the mental aspect of the game, and it's so important to have an understanding for the game and be I think hockey there's more that goes into hockey IQ than people even talk about because people talk about smart plays, but it's also like situational awareness is a big thing, having if you're a guy on the ice late in the game up by a goal, like that's usually preaches to your hockey IQ and knowing what to do in those situations and your coach trusting you to put you on the ice.
Yeah.
So you definitely look for guys who play those really key minutes when you want to win big games and things like that. I think another thing that goes along with it is just guys, you look for competitors. You look for the most competitive guys. I think competitiveness and compete level is something that another thing is hard to teach and usually is kind of written in your DNA as a
Yeah.
player. I think the biggest thing, especially at the Division 1 level, is that we talk about a lot is there's a lot of games where you're gonna have to win with will over skill. There's a lot of games where you either less skilled or more skilled than the team that you're playing against, but like in college hockey, every game's a dogfight because it's
Yeah.
so
My God, it's
each
crazy.
game matters so much.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's that will over skill. So you need super competitive guys, especially guys who are going to push the pace every day in practice, that are going to make those guys who maybe lack in that area to push them to another level.
Yeah,
So I
because
think those things for sure are the
yeah.
two that jump out at me. One thing that I was thinking about was I like players who are consistent. And what I mean that is every time I watch a player, I should know what you're going to bring to the table every night. We talk about at Colgate how the hardest thing to do every day is be consistent. So if it creates more questions the more I watch you about who you are as a player, that's to me a little bit concerning knowing like I can't fit you where do you slot in for us? It's like if you're a fast guy, be fast every time you're on the ice. Some coaches only will watch you for a couple shifts. Maybe you get a coach that watches you a couple games. You don't know what games those are. You don't know what shifts those are. So do what you do best every single time you step onto the ice.
Dude, that's great advice. That's unbelievable advice. And honestly, you see it through the same lens I see it. This is my order when I look at guys. Compete first and foremost is the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
If guys aren't competing, it means they don't want enough. I don't even look at those guys at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So compete's number one for me. Consistency is also huge for me as well. Like I want a guy that you can trust, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
coaches want guys that they can trust, that they can throw out there in the last minute of the game. They know what to expect out of them. So consistency, huge. And hockey IQ, man, like I create videos on this. I debate that it can be taught, but like you said, it's very difficult to teach. It
Yes.
takes a lot of time. So it's one thing like at the junior level, if guys still don't have it for D1 coaches, like if you see a guy who doesn't have the hockey IQ, it's too late at that point, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
I yeah, I definitely think it's something to develop that you can develop easier younger. I mean, most things are,
yeah,
but like my biggest advice I always tell guys is just watch NHL hockey. Watch the highest levels of hockey you can, because that's when you learn the most and see stuff that you don't see when you're just playing with your buddies or playing at whatever level that you're playing at, you see stuff that you have to be curious and ask questions, just even if it's to yourself. Like, why did that guy on the Pittsburgh Penguins do that? Like it's because there's a reason for what they do at that level. So I always say you have to, in order to improve your hockey IQ, you have to watch hockey all the time, all the
Yep.
time, picking the brains of the smartest people.
Absolutely. You pick their brains, you watch what they do, you really watch in detail, analyze closely what they do. Watch yourself play too. When you
Mhm.
watch yourself, you can see, oh, like here, that guy did that play, similar play that you're in. Like I could have tried this. So next time it triggers in your brain to try it. So by watching guys and paying attention, it really makes a big difference for it.
Mhm.
And I know coaches don't always like talking about which leagues they recruit out of, but my viewers always ask me, like, what's a good league to be scouted and all that stuff. What would your advice be to those guys?
I think it's hard. I think each league is different, not so much better and worse than another. For example, we have on Colgate, we're split half and half with Canadians and Americans. We
Yep.
had half our Americans play in the NA, half of them play in the USHL. We probably have, I think, 4 or 5 guys from the AJ, about 4 or 5, 6 guys from the BC, a couple CCHL guys. So it really is all over. I think we look at almost every league. I don't think there's a specific league. I think people need to stop being focused on the leagues and more look at the organizations that you're in.
Yeah.
Do they care about your development? Is the coaching good? Is Because at the end of the day, you want to be the best player. You're either going to be a stud and get committed when you're 16 years old, or if you're going to take the more common route and end up working your way up and becoming a better junior player when you're 19, 20 years old. It's about those years, those first couple of years of development. Are you getting your touches? Are you in a place that cares about your development? Or are they only playing you 6 minutes a night every single night, and you're only there because you're playing in the BCHL or you're
Yeah.
playing in the USHL? It's not so much what league. I think people put too much emphasis on the 4 or 3 or 5 letter league that they're playing in, and more look at the organization, the culture. Because I mean, we had like both, for example, at Colgate, our 2 kids on our team who were drafting the NHL, they were both drafted out of the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Like most people wouldn't say that's the best league to go try to play in the NHL, but both of our guys ended up getting drafted
Yep.
playing their 3rd year in the AJHL because they were in their teams, they became leaders on their teams, and then they became good enough for NHL scouts to think that they have NHL potential playing from those leagues. So I think people get caught up in the leagues. Like it shouldn't be your goal to, oh, I have to play in the USHL because I'm going to get a Division 1 commitment. It's more like I need to help this team that I'm playing on that wants me, that's developing me to win games. Then good things will happen from there.
Yeah, 100%. I think like when it comes to like the top, 8 to 10 leagues, like obviously the USHL is the best and stuff, but all these leagues have really good programs in them.
Mhm.
And you want to go to the one where it's going to be a program where the coach loves you, he's going to play you, he's going to take the time to develop you, and you're going to have like a leadership role. If you go there and you really dominate, no matter what league you go to, obviously some are a bit stronger than others, but
Mhm.
whatever league you go to, D1 coaches will at least look at you if you're really doing well. So
Yeah.
I think that's great advice. Honestly, it's much more nuanced than just saying, "Oh yeah, USHL number one, go to the BC, go to the NA, whatever." You got to go where you're going to play, you're going to develop, and that's how you're going to get seen.
Yeah. People want it black and white, but the honest and truthful answer is it's not black and white.
No,
Like,
it's so nuanced, and coaches know that. People hate that. People hate
yeah.
that it's detailed and nuanced, but that's just how it is for most things in life, right?
Yeah.
So
Ask NHL scouts what the best league to develop their prospects are in. They're not going to give you a straight answer
yeah,
either.
give me a different answer with these guys.
Yeah.
So touching on recruiting too, obviously you get a ton of emails that come in all the time. I
Oh
know
yeah.
the D1 coaches always complain to me about it that they get like tons of. I don't even want to ask you the number of emails you get a day, but I know it's a ton. So
Yeah.
uh, how like what's your process about sifting through them, and what can a player do like whenever they're emailing you? What's the right way to go about it?
I think make it personable. Don't, it's pretty like I feel like every coach, like you said, we get a million emails a day. So it's pretty easy to tell within the first two sentences if it's a email for us or if it's an email for every single Division 1 college coach, but you change the name and the school. Some people don't even change the school. They accidentally just leave the wrong school. It's kind of funny
Yeah.
when that happens. But I would say just make it personable. Like I think a great example would be like for us at Colgate, like we just beat Harvard. Like if you our last game before the year or before the break, like if you put something in there like, hey coach, like just saw you guys had a huge win against Harvard. Congrats. But like make it personable. Make like we're people too. You gotta kind of jelly us up a little bit because we like how else are you gonna stand out? Besides, I know a lot of people go through different agencies and make like pictures and posters and make it flashy. I don't know if that's necessary. Like I'm still gonna like at least read one that doesn't have anything to do with that. It's more looking for guys that fit.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it that way, but I just think that it's not a bad thing to send emails. I do think that most coaches will look at them or glance at them, but just don't make it so obvious that you just copy and paste it and send it to everybody. And then I would say also just don't bombard coaches with emails.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple
Huge.
guys that I get that send you your but seems like weekly updates on every single weekend that they play and where they're going and stuff. It's like if we want to see you, we'll come see you. Like
Yeah.
you're not you're not pulling any tricks. You're not going to annoy us into committing you. So
That's a huge point too. And I try sometimes my guys are like, hey, like can you contact them? It's like no, because if you contact them too much, then it's not good. It's like you gotta be very strategic and selective how you contact them, you know.
yeah.
It depends on the coach you're dealing with too. Some coaches I know, they tell me, hey, just send me like the bare bones info, and I'll tell you if I like him or not, and go from there. But that's coaches that I know.
Mm-hmm.
In general, though, on your side, I agree with you that you want to be like personable, like you said. If you know that they just won, you guys just had a big win against Harvard or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you just go and say, hey, like just a quick sentence, hey, love that win against Harvard, and then you like say, here's my info, let me know what you think, type thing.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like don't send huge novels, don't send like the just don't mistake the name and the name of the
Yeah.
school and all that. If you do that and you don't send it too much, you should be in a good spot. So
Yeah, exactly that. People go in there and kind of like to create like a narrative. It's like, yeah, I'd rather you just give me the go straight to the point.
yeah, for sure. Like quick sentence, like great win against Harvard, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Then the point,
Yeah, give me your position, give me your age, give me your at Colgate, we gotta care about school.
Yeah, for sure, for
You
sure.
gotta care about your grades, maybe a quick height, weight, and stats, but not much more than that.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. All right, well, I got one more question for you. It's a question I ask everybody at the end of the interview.
Mhm.
What's one last piece of advice you'd like to give to young players out there coming up that we might not have touched on today?
The biggest thing that I've learned from being in hockey 20 plus years now is that you can't play without passion in this game. I think passion for the game is what got me to where I was just because you go through so much adversity. Like every single player will go through adversity at some point. And it's just about controlling. I always say control what you can control. At Colgate, we use acronym AED. It's attitude, effort, discipline. It's the three things that you control every single time that you get on the ice. You can control your attitude, you can control your effort, and you can control your discipline. And that's just about it. I think the biggest thing, what got me through hard times, what ended up getting me to where I was at Trine, becoming a big part of the team, definitely by my senior year, was just coming to the rink every day with a smile on my face, knowing that this is the best game in the world. And I still get to play it when a lot of people that I grew up playing with don't. So I think if you have that mentality when you go through those hard days, because like practices get hard,
Yeah.
you have really bad days when things aren't going well. You don't want to go work out, like you don't want to go practice, you don't want to go do this stuff. You have to lean on your passion for the game. And I think that's what really got me through pretty much every low in the sport. And it's what has gotten me a job in the sport is just loving the game more than the next guy. Because I think it's easier to love the game than the guy next to you than it is to work harder than the guy next to you because they're working pretty hard. But I know I can love this game more than you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think passion is the X factor of why you see some guys succeed and some guys don't. Guys that come to work every day, they might work hard, but the guys who are passionate or they're also working hard and they're nitpicking coaches like we were talking about, and they're replaying their reps in their head and they're thinking about how I can get better. It's not just working hard. It's not just working as hard as you can in the moment. It's about just constantly thinking of new ways to work harder.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like they're all in, you know, they have that extra gear.
all in.
They're always thinking about it, you know, and that's what separates like guys to go to the next level. When they have that passion, the compete, the all in, all that, it all just comes into it, right?
It's all on one string going the same direction. They all line up together.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a great final message. I think the viewers here are really going to appreciate all your input. Brandon, thanks so much for coming on. I know you guys are super busy. You're always like doing different things as coaches, but really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Had a good time. Love talking hockey.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. All right, that's a wrap for the interview here. Great info here, honestly, on how to get recruited at the NCAA D1 and D3 level, talking about the differences and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, Brandon's a great resource to talk to. He's a great friend of mine, and you can probably tell why. He's just a great guy, you know, and he's always willing to help players out. So if you guys liked this content, feel free to absolutely destroy that like button if you haven't already. I know probably get annoying always asking this all the time, but it really does make a difference, and it goes a long way for more people to see this kind of content and help them out. Also too, if you're new here, if you want to see this kind of content moving forward, if you don't want to miss another video, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. It's really going to go a long way. If you have any comments, anything you want to talk to us about, any questions you have for me, for Brandon, anything like that, drop a comment down below in the comment section or send us a private email at info@ahadvising.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you on that next one.